Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kostuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kostuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Sleeping Sunday, and it's a special edition show today. It's our Sage Group. Do we have an official name for this? It's our Sage Group Extravaganza. It's our Sage Group Extravaganza today. And this is a day where we unmute people on Zoom who are both Sage Group leaders and Sage Group members. We call them Sagelings. And it's very interesting. If you're new to this, and if you're listening on Facebook, welcome everybody. This is a study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but we've done this thing to build community where we break into groups and we discuss topics of value for self-growth during the course of the week with our Sage groups. And it goes on for like an 18-week period. And, you know, when you get together with like-minded people and talk about your evolution and how you can move forward, things get very personal, things get very inspiring. And then it's sort of like the beginning of sometimes it's the beginning of our spiritual life, is when we start to share how we feel and applying these spiritual practices to our life. And you develop almost like, just like when you fall in love with somebody and there's like a romance that goes with it. It's like we're romancing Krishna, and to hear everybody else share about their experience, it's like you get a taste of what they're going through. It's actually like a real love story. So if you're new to this or have no idea what's going on today, I highly encourage you to stay tuned, because what happens is you start to get inspiration from other people's inspiration. And the people that we're going to pull on today, the show, they're going through quite an inspirational time of their life right now. Kostuba, welcome back. We missed you.
Thank you.
You were on a little collegial tour of Pittsburgh with a good friend Zed. You're still in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't it look a little different than usual?
It does look a little different. You're in your parents' house?
Yeah.
All right. How's your parents?
They're doing all right.
Yeah.
You asked me advice because today is their 60th anniversary.
Oh yeah, the advice. Yeah, I said, give us some family advice, marriage advice, coupleship advice from your parents who are going through 60 years of marriage now, and what gems of wisdom do they for all of us?
Why don't we hold that? I might be able to reap a little bit more. Why don't we get into that tomorrow?
Okay.
I'll give you
Alrighty. On the edge of our seats here. Families are crumbling, Kostuba, but we can wait.
Private message me if your family is crumbling right at this moment.
Yes. All right. Well,
where did Mara go? We need to. There she is.
All right, I'm right here.
We got issues.
She's got to get her stuff out of my...
Things are crumbling quick, Mara. And any announcements for us, Kostuba?
Well, I thought that's where we go to Mara for, but I suppose we have a Bhakti recovery group meeting today, but I don't know what time.
Any announcements that we know of?
Well, I want to say tomorrow at 8. Is that? Can we go with that?
Shows tomorrow at 8. Yeah, we're good with that. I didn't hear back from. Yes, let's just go with it. 8 o'clock. The Californians are jumping for joy. Woohoo! So tomorrow, 8 o'clock, there's a BRG meeting at 10:30 a.m. this morning.
That's
Okay.
live at the Bhakti Center and in Zoom.
Live at the Bhakti Center and Zoom. Thank you,
And
Mara.
on Zoom, yeah.
We have Yamuna Jelly's Happy Girl Kitchen. We have that gift box. People are buying gift boxes of jelly. Give the gift of jelly this year, people. Give the gift of jelly. Don't just hand them a Bhagavad Gita without jelly. What are you thinking? You got to get to their hearts first. You give them jelly, and then you say, "Oh, by the way, there's a Gita that comes with that." That's how you get to their hearts.
When they get that cinnamon plum jelly,
it's a secret formula to
telling
touch
you.
people's hearts. Right?
And tell them the coupon code for that.
Coupon code is wisdom. Happy Girl Kitchen, and Yamuna Jelly's here on the show today, and she's a Sage Group leader, and we're happy to have her and her jelly part of our community. All right.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. By the way, if you missed yesterday's show, it was, it just wasn't the same without Kostuba.
Oh, come on.
But it was awesome. I used to always do that. Like when I wasn't here on the show, I'd go, "Hey, Mara, how was the show?" She'd be like, "Oh, it was great." I was like, "Wrong answer. Wrong answer. It struggled. It was horrible. It wasn't the same without you." That's what I want to hear. But it was horrible without you. But
awesomely
that's great.
horrible.
It was so nice having Krishnamari Goswami and Banu on the show yesterday. So if you have some downtime today, listen to that show. It was really wonderful. Talking about festivals of Vrindavan. Woo! Holy. Okay. All right. So we're going to bring on some people on the show, starting with Braj Bihari. Braj Bihari, welcome. He's what? Oh, he's
I think Kostuba first.
Kostuba, starting with Kostuba. That's what I meant to say.
Well, in a sense, what we're doing today is we're sort of celebrating the conclusion of our second series of Sage groups, right? The first one was a real long one because we weren't ready to start the second one. So the first one was something like 34 weeks. And then but we want them to be smaller units than that. So we just completed like a 16-week series of Sage group meetings. It means these groups are getting together every week. Small groups of about 7 people, where they were just, there's a topic provided, that's tied into one of the topics we discussed the previous week on the podcast, and so that's there. But really, there's definitely learning taking place in these groups, but it's really more about sharing and connecting. It's really just like an opportunity to take your interest in bhakti to the next level, and that involves connecting with other people that have an interest in it. So each group is led by a person that has some experience, practicing bhakti, but they're not exactly a teacher, but they're more leading the conversation or helping lead the conversation so that everybody gets an opportunity to speak and to share their thoughts, share their questions, share their doubts, share the things that are going well and their excitement, or, what's just share their interest in bhakti on all different levels. And that's what, we have. Like, I think yesterday something like 11,000 people downloaded the show, right? 11,000. Wow. And so there's a lot of people out there that are taking an interest. And so these Sage groups are for people that want to go deeper, that want to take that next step. Raj Bihari shared something with me. And I should also mention, so we're celebrating the conclusion of this series. And then what we're going to do as soon as the show is done is that this meeting will just kind of continue. And we're going to start to take questions and have feedback and get ideas from people that have been participating. So we're looking forward to that as a way to improve the Sage groups, as well as to provide other kind of services, I suppose you could say, for our listeners. So that new series will be beginning in January, the first week of January, and you can sign up for a Sage group by going to wisdomofthesages.com, and then on the menu item Sage groups, you click that, and these groups are filling up. But sign up no matter what, and if more people sign up than we have groups, we're going to try to create more groups to facilitate everyone. And but this is what I wanted to share today, just about the groups. Raj Bihari shared with me an interesting quote about groups. We're not the first people in the world to come up with this idea of small groups. People have been doing it, but the quote was that the small group is the unit for transformation. Right?
Mhm.
The small group is the unit for transformation, and I think people are catching on to that. I think even in Raghunath, you can let me know if this resonates with you, but I think the way that we were raised in the particular Bhakti movement that we were raised in, it was almost like big numbers were always celebrated. It's like the bigger the better.
Mm.
And that as part of it, like that Anandam Buddhivardhanam, it's like kind of like it's ever expanding, and there's truth in that, and there's beauty in that. But at the same time, when groups get larger, there's a certain beauty and excitement in it. But when it comes to personal transformation, these small groups can be really effective. That you take a step into a group more than just like listening. I listen to this podcast every day. It helps me focus. It gives me ideas. It gives me things to reflect on as I go through the day and try to be a better person and try to practice bhakti more deeply. And that's all great. When you step into one of these groups, and we're going to hear from people, but it's a facility that can really play a role in making it come alive in a whole new way in your life. If you join these groups, you're going to make friends, right? You're going to connect with people. You can open up, and when people open up, they become the friendship isn't just this superficial thing, but it's something more real, something more substantial. And every week you have a chance to open up, reconnect within the context of bhakti. And so I really have a lot of faith in that idea that small groups are the unit for transformation. If we want to make this not just theoretical, but actually if we want to be transformed by it, this is a great step. And that's basically just what I wanted to share.
Beautiful. Especially during the holidays when people are sometimes to go home to your family triggers things in people, or sometimes we have superficial relationships, or we just have this acrimony with some relatives, or we just have some dysfunctional dynamic that existed when I was 10 years old, and I sort of replay it and still continuing to perpetuate it holiday after holiday. So if you're one of those persons, this is a great chance to, as Kaustubh was saying, you become friends on a much deeper level by sharing your heart with people. That's how people fall in love with people. You share your heart on a deeper level, things you don't really share with the world. We have to keep up a public persona, but when you can get with an intimate group of people that you trust, you can start to reveal your heart. And therefore the sage groups, and the Bhakti Recovery Group for that matter as well, you find yourself saying, these are my real friends. These people have my best interest in mind. They're not trying to take me down. I feel safe around them. And that's why this thing is so valuable.
These
my name's
people
Raghunath.
will not try to take you down.
They will not try to. By the way, I got some incredible vegan eggnog going on today.
Excellent.
Cheers to you. In my Chewbacca Christmas cup. Okay, what are we doing? How are we doing this, Kaustubh?
Now you're going to turn to Raj Bihari for
Raj Bihari.
We owe a great debt to, who we're very thankful, who's been coordinating these groups.
Yeah. Okay, Braja.
Well, it's been great because the Sage Group leaders, just approaching them and say, hey, could you lead a Sage Group? And they're all volunteering their time every week to do this, and they're just like all great people. It's been so wonderful, just like talking to Kaustubh and Raghu. Well, who could we get? And we mentioned this. Oh yeah, he'd be great. And she'd be great. So just that that alone, I'm so indebted to all the Sage Group leaders who came forward, volunteering their time to do this. And
thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking of this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that it says, Krishna Bhakti, we know what that means, Janma Mula. So the birth, Mula means the root. So the root that gives birth to Bhakti is Sadhu Sangha, associating with like-minded people. And I don't know, I've done some small group stuff before in other situations, but I found that even the wisdom of the sages, small groups are special. And I think it's because of the kind of, I don't know, ethos is the wrong word, the kind of mood that Raghu and Kaustubh create on the show. And that, that attracts a certain, kind of people who are really interested in developing their bhakti. Then they take the next step and join the sage group. And they're bringing that aroma of wisdom of the sages to the groups. And it's really sweet. Sweet aroma.
Smell like cinnamon.
Maybe you've never smelled my aroma, Braj Bihari.
Actually, I stayed in your room once. And we're going to hear about this from others. I don't want to steal other people's storm, other people's statements, but they create. Some of them have already created. I was going to say lifelong friendships, although they've been maybe for a year so far, but really deep friendships with people, and the mood of openness and connection, and the freedom to kind of be oneself in a bhakti atmosphere is just so powerful. And I really found this combination that you hear about in the show a lot, about how, our own personal shortcomings, but then this deep appreciation of the power of bhakti. And that combination really makes for a sweet atmosphere. So that was something I thought about. And then just the power of the Bhagavatam. That's one thing that's really impressed me, that I've been studying the Bhagavatam. I just counted for 46 years.
Wow.
And to see the effect that the Bhagavatam has on people who've been hearing of it much less than 46 years, it's really inspiring for me. So I'm super grateful for this opportunity just to render some service to Raghu, to Kaustuba, to Mara, and to the Sage Group leaders, and to the people who are listening to this podcast. That's
beautiful. All right, so can I bring on the Sage Group leaders?
And members.
Yep.
And sagelings as well.
Okay. So Mara's going to tell me who, and then I'm going to say the first one we have, which is one of my favorite people around, Chadaratma Prabhu. Chadaratma has been a big inspiration in my life. I don't think we ever had him on the show, or maybe we did. We did have him on the show, and Chadaratma, his subtitle would be "Have a Good Attitude." The guy's just got a good attitude, and that goes a long way in life, in material life, but definitely in spiritual life. So let's unmute Chadaratma. Mara,
he's got a fiercely loyal Sage Group.
Hare Krishna.
Hey, Haribo, you transcendental Christmas elf.
Yeah,
how are you, Prabhu?
I'm doing very well. Missed getting more association with you down here when you were here than I wanted, but
we
like
just
we
passed.
said, even in moments. Yeah. I was really impressed with the little intro that the three of you gave about the importance of these sage groups. And I really echo each of those statements, because in our sage group, we've had the same group now since the whole beginning. So we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. We had a little birthday cake and birthday virtual and birthday hats and streamers and the whole thing, because it's a big celebration. We've all been together that long. And the ability to open up to each other as we progress, struggle, and work on how to become a better bhakti yogi, how to be more incorporating of all the principles of bhakti yoga in our daily life, is really strengthened by people from so many different walks of life, so many different backgrounds, and yet all having a goal of trying to become better at what we're doing, and feeling that comfort of opening up to each other. I mean, there's things I revealed to this group that I've been with for a year now that I probably haven't told that many people at all. Similarly with them, they feel comfortable coming to the group and opening up about what their challenges are, what their difficulties are.
Anything juicy you want to share? Just kidding. Just kidding.
I don't know how long you want me to go on. I can praise this program for the rest of the hour. But there were a few members from our SAGE group that also thought that they would say, a little something. I don't know how Braj Bihari wants to orchestrate who's up next and whatever. But I'm really thankful personally that you all brought me into this, and it's given me an opportunity to examine my own spiritual growth and to see what areas I can improve on in myself and how I can assist others improve in their spiritual path.
Thank you, Chadaratmaji.
We're going to bring on Matt Jaffe right now, who's Matt's whose Sage group are you in, Matt?
He's in Braj Bihari's, yeah.
Oh, you're in Braj Bihari's. Oh, that's right. That's right. And Matt's really helping Wisdom of the Sages a lot. It's been a little bit inspirational for us and what we're doing. in his work with computers, and he basically does, creates like webs of people and connection and communities, but he does it in his regular life. That's his job. And now he's bringing that same skill into into our community. And we're really grateful. Matt, you want to share anything?
Sure. Thank you. And nice to see everybody this morning. I just wrapped up my second Sage group with Vrajvihari. My first one was with Nityananda Chandra. And when I started that, I didn't really have a bhakti practice, and I didn't really know anybody who had one or aspired to have one.
You live out in Denver, Colorado. Is that correct?
That's right. I live in Denver. And it was such a blessing to meet folks, not only the Sage group leaders who are super qualified and share a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and also model really great behavior that I don't see as often kind of in my professional life, where I also attend a lot of meetings. But we're calling them sagelings. Sagelings.
You can.
The great thing about it was in both of my Sage groups, there are folks at different stages along their path. But even though I may have been in groups with folks who've lived in ashrams, and also folks like me who are just getting started, we all treat each other like peers. And that was really refreshing to me, to kind of be in an association with a lot of folks, and we're all kind of like on the same level. And I really appreciated that, and it helped me open up and be more vulnerable. We've gone through lots of stuff in my Sage groups. We've dealt with a lot of big ups and big downs, and it's been so beneficial just to me and to my journey on Bhakti to have these folks to meet with every week.
Beautiful. Thanks. And I appreciate your vulnerability, Matt, and I appreciate all your service as well. We're going to keep moving, and we're going to bring on Mr. Banjo Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Banjo Mike, Haribol, how are you? Banjo Mike lives in upstate New York. He's a big part of our community here at Super Soul.
Expert craftsman.
Expert craftsman. Woodworker, made our Super Soul sign.
Syrup producer.
Yes, and he's a maple syrup man. He is sweet as syrup. Haribol. And you and Michelle are up there serving away. Would you like to share your story in the Sage group, and who's your Sage group leader?
Sure. I just finished up my second Sage group with Thomas Haribol, who's a devotee, and my first Sage group leader was Nityananda Chandra.
All right. Okay.
And they have been very important to my growth as a bhakta, because I live in an area that has, so few people practicing Bhakti-yoga. Virtually all of my association is virtual. With the exception of a handful of times every year where you get to go and render service to Raghunath Prabhu and the Wisdom of the Sage community. Bhakti, Michelle, and I are up here in the mountains doing our best to spread Bhakti here. And so it's been so important to have these Sage groups to allow us to have the association and to grow. I would also say that, for Bhakti, Michelle, and I, our first Sage group was very enlivening, because as we were, growing with our group, we were also growing in our own spiritual practice. And I had a realization as to who my guru was going to be. And by Krishna's arrangements, my Sage group leader had a connection with my guru. And Bhakti Michelle's Sage group leader was a Shiksha disciple of our guru. And so because we had been meeting for many weeks by then with our Sage groups and our respective Sage group leaders, they got to know us, and they got to learn about the seriousness of our practice. And they were able to make the introductions to our aspiring guru.
What kind of connections developing?
That was such a beautiful result of the Sage groups. And I'd just like to say one more thing, I guess. While trying to schedule a time to speak with my Guru Dev, I said, well, my schedule is pretty open. I'm a farmer, and I'm very flexible in the times that I can meet, with the exception of my 2 sanghas that I'm a part of. And he said, well, your sanghas that you're a part of, those groups are going to be the groups that propel you to Goloka Vrindavan, to bring you to Krishna's heavenly abode. And so that is why it is so important. And I urge everyone who's listening, who's not already a part of a sage group or who hasn't signed up for the next round, to sign up, because it is so wonderful to be able to meet weekly with people who are at the very beginning of their bhakti journey, to people that have been living the bhakti lifestyle for their entire lives, or the vast majority of their lives. Like Matt Prabhu said, it's very enlivening being with a group of people that are on different levels, but you can see everyone grow throughout the course of the however long you meet, be it the 30-something weeks the first time or the 16 weeks the second time. There's a noticeable change in the people and in their growth in bhakti. And so I wholeheartedly endorse this program and recommend anyone to sign up. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. We're going to ask Tara Prabhu to come on. Tara, who's in Mayapur right now. Tara's been a devotee since me and Kastuba were kids. And he was a kid then too. now he's residing in Mayapur and sometimes Poland. His wife is Polish, and they have a beautiful, beautiful son. Where is Tara?
Nice. I'm here.
Good morning, Tara. Haribo. Good to see you.
Good evening from Mayapur. I'm somehow Krishna's been very kind to me, and he's placed me back in my home in Mayapur. I was feeling like I was in exile in Poland for a couple of years, and Kaustubha Prabhu very kindly reached out and gave me the chance to have that weekly group. And pretty much it was the highlight of my week, because at least following up to the meeting, I knew, okay, well, get your head together, you're going to have to be participating in the group, directing the group. So I had to, at least that day had to be in better consciousness, because I realized very acutely, very painfully, that without the association of devotees, I was dead. There was just no possibility of maintaining my spiritual practice, maintaining the best version of myself. So I got so much from that weekly connection with 6 or 7 good souls, and just sharing with them, participating with them, and there was a lot of eagerness on everyone's part to connect once a week, and the connection was palpable. It was a friendship which developed, and I've only met one of the people personally from Croatia, Velcro, wonderful, wonderful person. Him and his twin brothers, super special people. But all the rest of the people in the group, I just look forward to meeting them personally. And I feel like, we definitely know each other. And just that little detail is missing, of getting to meet each other personally, take prasadam together, and take the friendship further. So this is it. It's association with people who are on the path. This is what protects us. This is what keeps us going, and I'm super grateful for it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Tara's leading 2 groups next time around. Beginning
wow!
In January, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I thought you did. Did you tell me that?
Oh yes, and you've upped your donation.
Actually, it's going to be 3
as well. By the way,
I'm
I thought it was 2.
grateful.
Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
No, I hope so.
Okay.
Tara would always tell me, because we work together, he always would tell me, oh man, the sage groups mean so much. I'm getting so much inspiration from them. It's great to hear you. You've been around so long, yet you have such like a sweet taste in your mouth that you're sharing with all of us and sharing with me. And I'm inspired by your inspiration, Prabhu. And thanks for all your help.
Thank you also so much. I really appreciate it.
You know what Matt shared about, like, the whole thing being, no matter how long we've been around, kind of just like a peer. Everyone's kind of relating each other. as peers, you know. And I think there is something to, I mean, it's built right into the yoga and bhakti culture of, you know, juniors respecting elders and elders, you know, those distinctions. But also there really also needs to be a place where people just feel very comfortable, you know, opening up. And I love the idea that someone like Tara, who's been practicing this for over 35 years, is just in a group and just, you know, kind of sitting there on the same level as someone that's just came in to this, you know, just by listening to this podcast for the past 6 months.
You know, I think sometimes we try to posture ourselves because we have been around longer,
right?
Yet we still struggle with sometimes the same things we've been struggling with for 30 years.
True.
And it's one of these things, if you actually analyze where we're at, it's like, okay, I've been practicing bhakti for 35 years, 45 years, 55 years. Who cares? How long have we been practicing Maya for? And the person, we're really good at practicing Maya. I've been lifetimes of Maya practice. I'm like a black belt in Maya. But when it comes to sort of like someone who's new, who knows how long they've been practicing Krishna? It could be they could be very spiritual anyway. So on this in the small zoom in version of life, I'm a senior to somebody, but in the biggest pictures, like it really doesn't matter. And I think the sage groups and the BRG have this very beauty to them where vulnerability is the ticket to get in the door, where you can put all that posturing aside, which sometimes happens in public arenas, and you can actually get to the heart of like uncovering, you know, what we need to uncover to grow in our spiritual practice. Let's get Steady Jen. Where's Steady Jen? Can you unmute Steady Jen, please? Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, Steady Jen.
Works with
what sage group are you in?
I've been lucky enough to be with Braj Bihari for a whole year now. So.
And your entrance into Bhakti came from where?
From finding you guys. I heard you on the Rich Roll podcast way back when, and it changed my life and helped me in so many ways. And I'm going to cry. I have a lot of feelings, but I'll try not to.
I'll cry. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't know what to say that hasn't already been said, but it was just so nice to have friends all over the country in so many different stages of life and wealth of knowledge, and to be able to share and get advice and have questions answered and help navigate, you know, the material world with all of its ups and all of its downs. And it's just very nice to have a group of people to have those like deep spiritual existential conversations with, that you can't find that anywhere else. Like you can't talk to people at work about these things, you know, they'd kind of be like, what? So just having a group of people that know you so well and can share with you. So yeah, I'm very grateful to you and to Braj Bihari and the group, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Steady Jen. Steady Jen sort of lives and works at this animal shelter in upstate New York, more upstate than me. And we had a good opportunity to meet her in person this year at the farm. It was great to connect in person. That happens too, people. We connect in person. That's why we do these retreats. That's why we have the farm. That's why we have these pilgrimages, et cetera, to come together past the virtual world. But until then, we have this steady connection. And it's really sweet to see your inspiration and transformation, Jen. Haribol. Rula Ananda. Come on down. This is like always wanted to live this life where I'm actually the talk show host. Come on down. You're the next contestant, Rula Ananda.
Hare Krishna. Allow me to offer humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada, our sage group teacher, Chashratma, Das Prabhu, of course, Kastupa Prabhu, Raghunath Prabhu, and definitely dear Mara. Thank you for the opportunity, and really happy to be here.
Rula, where are you from?
So I am based in Jordan. I am from Jordan, Middle East. So it's an interesting group because we have people in Europe, in the US, and in Lebanon. So yeah, but I was introduced first time to Bhakti back in the ISKCON in Toronto, where I was living. And since then, it's been a journey, but nothing really boosted the journey except when, after the podcast and of course the Sage groups.
Wow.
I put a few words together since I tend to mumble when I'm nervous. So if you like, I can share them. Definitely. Thank you. So I tried to summarize the experience to the best of my intentions, and I called it the inspiration in the narration. I put a year has passed since the magic of the Sangha started. A year has passed since, as a parent and student on the path, has been inspired, transformed, and humbled by daily drops of wisdom. Many nuggets, yet one path. Be the adult in the room. Be the adult in the room, I tell my kids. Dare to be different, yet with compassion to all. Do thy work for work itself, not only for its fruits, nor for the grades, but because it's the right thing to do. Yet, enjoy a higher taste of life through your choices of what you listen to, words you speak, lines you read, and people you associate with. Be fixed on your path and don't lose sight of your compass. People are constantly saying this is difficult times, these are really complicated times we're living in, yet Bhagavatam wisdom never fails us. It echoes through times, ages, and why so? It is because it's Krishna's transcendental energy that is universal and for all humanities. So this is my summary of my experience of all the wisdom that I try to put together as a parent, and being lucky to be part of a group that is really humble and sharing, of course, with our group leader who never ceases to inspire us with his humility.
Wow. Rula's like the prophet there. We could publish that. That's great.
And it's a group of parents,
it's a parents group. That's right. Yeah,
it really
different
helps.
groups have different themes. Some of them. That's a
really
group.
Helps as a parent just to fine tune your tools and give the words as parents. I think it's been really, really helpful.
It just struck me now that you shared that. In other words, the great fortune of being a child growing up with a parent that's in a Sage group, and it's coming every week with fresh spiritual inspiration and sharing their struggles and their victories in raising their children to be children of higher consciousness. You got a team they're working with you to do it with this most important responsibility. It's really great.
Thank you. Very supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Rula. That was beautiful. I hope we can meet in person one day.
Definitely. That's the next evolution of the Sage groups, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In the metaverse. I'm going to bring on Moses, who's sitting right next to me right now, and he's in a Sage group. Moses. Welcome, Moses.
Haribol, everyone.
Holy Moses.
I guess quick story. I found Wisdom of the Sages when I got back from my trip in India, when I didn't really have the association. So it was really huge in helping me get back up towards Krishna. And the wonderful community that Wisdom of the Sages has grown, it makes it a lot more real when you're part of a Sage group. I was really fortunate to be part of Shara's group. I think she gave an interview on Wisdom of the Sages on interview day. And it was really wonderful. One thing I did take away is that when you're kind of in that association and you do share whatever struggles you have, one major theme that we focused on was prayer. And I found that when you do care and you do wish well for whatever your Sage members are going through, that healing kind of happens within yourself too. So there's friends that I still keep in touch with, and to be part of a Sage group, it's really powerful. It makes all the realizations you have on the show come alive and a lot more real. So, Haribol.
Thank you, Moses. I've heard so many great things about Shara's Sage group, and she's not leading a group this time around, but we are going to be knocking on her door when we come ready. When it comes time for the fourth grade, she's giving us a thumbs up.
Yeah. Why don't we have Shara now, please, Shara. Welcome.
All right. Well, I feel terrible going after Rula because that was just beautiful, Rula. Thank you for sharing that. yeah, Braja Bihari Prabhu asked me if I wanted to be involved in leading a group for you guys. And I mean, I don't know anybody that can turn down Braja Bihari Prabhu. So I said, of course. And it's been a great experience. We had a theme. We didn't have to talk about it if we wanted to or not wanted to, but we had the theme of addiction. And it was really great that I think all of our minds kind of work the same way. So we were able to cover topics, with or without talking about that, or we could, go deeper into that if we wanted to. And
people knew that they were speaking to a group that was familiar with
it's a safe group. Like if you mention, nobody's gonna, look at you weird if you say, oh, back when I was doing X, Y, and Z. It's just like, yeah, it's so commonplace, and we all felt really comfortable that way. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
And I will be back.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's a real problem, Kostuba. That's like one thing that stands up to me. If you were to say, how can you upgrade the Bhakti community? Yeah. I would say small groups where you can people really are encouraged to bare your heart to people that you can trust, or else it just becomes a public performance of Bhakti without right. Or you go to a private therapist or something like that. And whenever you're dealing with a therapist or a life coach or something like that, it's always like you're leading with money. Like it's going to cost you this much. You get 50 minutes. The time is up. Cut you short. You're crying your eyes out. And when you're going through something you're really struggling with, like say something like addiction or an abusive relationship or something that's been like an anchor that's been holding you down in your spiritual life. It's not like you need 50 minutes of therapy a week. You need like a team of people that you can reach out to on a regular basis.
Real friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of these groups develop a WhatsApp connection, and they're staying in touch with each other as much as they like, quite a bit.
That's beautiful.
During the week, yeah.
Narayani, let's bring on Narayani. Live from Switzerland. Oh, I switched it up at the last minute. Where is she? Is she still around?
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
She can. She's on a train. It's cruising around Switzerland.
Haribo.
Haribo, Narayani. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Prabhu. I hope I'm not going through a tunnel.
Yeah, we hope you're not going through a tunnel either. Now, you're a Sage Group leader, or you're in a Sage Group?
I'm a Sage Group member until now, and I'm going to be a leader from the next round of.
Yeah, this is going to be her first time being a leader.
No. Thank you for trusting me.
No, come on.
How's your experience as a Sage Group attendee?
That was great. I had the great fortune to be in Banu Nandini's group, and I was in the first round, and we decided to just stay in the group, almost all of us, and it was amazing to.
Desiree Moore next. No.
Oh, yeah, you muted.
I muted. I thought I was muting me. I muted you.
No problem.
Yes, it is.
All good.
Please continue.
Okay, so I've met a few people. That is amazing, similar to some people said when you meet in person, but just this regular contact, having this weekly association. We had our share of cries, and that's also a sign of that you really open up and you can be vulnerable in this small group. That was really amazing. And Banu, she shared so many amazing things from her spiritual master, and once she even brought him on, and we had his personal association, and that was just really, really amazing. Jai Banu.
Banu's great.
I want to be in Banu's group. That was beautiful. Thank you, Narayani, and congratulations on going through all this. And also, since I've met you, your spiritual evolution has been beautiful to witness.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Desiree Moore, live in New Jersey. How are you?
Haribo.
Haribo, how are you?
Desiree?
Hi, I was in Yamuna Jelly's group, and we've all been through so much in this past year. It's been very eventful, but to go through it with a Bhakti perspective, with that support from all the girls who are my teachers as well, is unlike going to my friends, you know, because they don't have that same view that we have for the outcome that we're looking for with anything we're going through in life.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, I've come to, I guess they center me. So when we come back every Tuesday and we're meeting, it's like, okay, I'm grounded again. I'm grounded again. And they're my sisters for life, you know.
That's an all ladies group, correct?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's been a blessing to be a part of them in their lives. Yamuna is amazing.
She's wonderful. And she is doing 2 groups this time around also, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, she is. Thank you, Desiree.
Knows it also, not like last one.
Thanks, Desiree.
Yes, you're welcome.
Share. Yamuna Jelly. Let's get Yamuna Jelly on. Yamuna Jelly from Happy Girl Kitchen. Where are you?
Hi, Krishna.
Hey, live in Northern California. How are you?
Wonderful. Please accept my obeisances. This is such a great group. I feel very humbled to be here. And I'm also grateful I have internet because I live very rural and we've had great, wonderful rainstorms this whole weekend. So
Yamuna, how did you get into the podcast?
Okay, good. That's where I wanted to start too. It's kind of interesting. Cousin Pete from New Jersey said, hey, do you listen to these guys? He heard you guys on Joe Rogan, was like, these guys, they're into what you're into. They know all the story. They're reading from this book that you read. And I was like, what?
Your cousin? Your cousin?
Yeah, Cousin Pete.
Cousin Pete.
And
let's get Cousin Pete on the show. He's already got a name.
We got to.
Cousin Pete.
And so I started it was during the pandemic, and I started replacing my news podcasts with Wisdom of the Sages on my commute to work. I was listening to, New York Times and things like this on the way. And I was like, forget it. I just want to listen to these guys. And I have to say, I immediately felt part of the family and felt really I was brought so much more joy in my life and joy to my practice in Bhakti. I've been practicing for 25 years, but it was just like you guys say, Hare Krishna 2.0, it was just a very different feeling. And I love the dented cans reference. I feel very much like a dented can most of the time. And I live 2.5 hours away from the temple. So although I have a really strong connection to my local community, I'm really far away. And then when I was asked to be a Sage Group leader, I went to my go-to response of, I'm not qualified, because I just always feel like there's someone more qualified in the room. That's just, there is basically, but I feel like these Sage Groups, it's not about qualification, and it's just about the heart and connecting and being vulnerable. And I can do that. I can do that all day. And so I feel like for me, from a leader, and I want to pitch to anyone listening who's maybe a little more shy like I am, or doesn't feel like they're qualified, that's not what this is about. And I feel like Wisdom of Sages, being a Sage Group leader, Kashtuba actually, it's like training wheels for leading programs, because Kashtuba is supporting us the whole time. And if you've never led programs before, it's just a great way to get started. And I feel like it's actually helped me lead my in-person programs here in my community. And I have to say, I've been with my women for a year now, and we, although now I heard Chadaratma's, and I'm like, oh, he's so much more qualified than me, because he did a year anniversary and I didn't do that. I hear all these leaders that are speaking. I'm like, oh, they're all so much more qualified. I hope my ladies get in one of their groups. But I just feel like these intimate connections and being vulnerable and feeling, for us, it was sisterhood. And I really want to have everyone come out to our property and have our own little retreat with ourselves, our Sage group retreat on our property. And I just feel like the thing that really binds us all together is this rarity of being part of the Wisdom of the Sages community, because it is a rare, okay, not that rare, right? There's thousands of people listening every day, but it's pretty unique situation to be a part of this community and to be able to share that uniqueness, that sort of weird thing about our lives, that we know so much about Raghunath and Kaustubha and Mara, and we could joke about you guys and talk about you guys, and it's all folded in with the Bhagavatam. It's pretty amazing. It's a great thing to share.
Thank you, Yamuna. Gee, we want to go to your jelly farm.
Definitely next time we're out there.
You know, we're running out of time. I'd like to do one more before we leave. Is that okay, Kaustubha?
Yeah.
Kaustubha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Let's do Kylie Brown.
Just a
Kylie Brown. And I'm sorry we couldn't get to. There's a lot of people
There's
wanted to do.
A lot of people that we could do.
And I want to thank everybody for contributing. Kylie, are you live?
Hare Krishna.
Hey, live from Atlanta, Georgia. Kylie, how did you get into Wisdom of the Sages briefly, and then tell us your story about your group leader, etc.
Well, I'm offer my humble obeisances to you, Prabhuji's, and to my sage group leader, Banu Nandini Ji, Srila Prabhupada, everyone here. I came to Wisdom of the Sages listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. I was sort of, you know, I met the devotees in 2007, and but it really, my practice, you know, was reading Bhagavatam, but didn't really have much association. And it really wasn't until I met Wisdom of the Sages and became a part of this Sangha that it just, like, it was just the best blessing that has ever happened in my life. And specifically, you know, joining my sage group, got to talk about things, you know, that happened in my life that I never, you know, that I really never really get to talk about. And I mean, these, you know, souls in our group, I mean, they're friends for life. And just, I through associate, I mean, Banu Nandini Ji really, she embodies, you know, we say the mantra, you know, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They're full of compassion. They're just like desire trees, you know, fulfilling the desires of everyone, the fallen conditioned souls. I mean, that literally was my experience. Always wanted to have association with people that had a practice that I could be myself with, and always wanted to, you know, find, you know, my spiritual master. And it was through, you know, through the sage group that I got to have some association with, you know, Sachinandana Swami, and because of her kindness, even my husband got to meet Sachinandana Swami, and it's just been truly just the greatest blessing of my life. And I'm just so humbled and honored to be a part of this community. I'm just, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Kylie.
Love you, Kylie, and love your husband, Brian. What a fun show today, Kaustubha.
It was super fun. And, you know, I think just through hearing from everybody, I think we kind of like, it sounds to me like the formula almost just came out, right? It's like, it's an opportunity to get together with a small group, make friends, real friends, lifelong friends, you know, friendships based on real substance, and to be able to open up, set aside any kind of hierarchy and open up as peers and be very honest with each other, you know? And I was thinking, you know, if you did sage groups for like 2 years straight, you might be in 6 different groups. You might meet 7 people in each group. You're going to make over 60, you know, connections, you know, and some of those connections will go deeper and stay with you, and you'll make really close friends. And I, you know, in the crazy world that we live in, where, you know, we go to work maybe with people that we don't even like so much, and we are, you know, locked away in our homes, you know, either commuting or working, or, you know, just working too many hours. And so to have that opportunity to have real, genuine friendships based on deep spiritual substance is life changing for people.
Yeah. So stick around. Is everybody invited to stick around, or just the Sage Group members and just the Sage Group leaders, Brajbihari?
You know, if people want to stick around, they can stick around, no problem.
Should I play the music?
Yeah. Yeah, it's called so we're going to say goodbye to Facebook. Goodbye, Facebook. Thanks for joining us. And Facebook people, you can join us all the time, Monday through Friday, wherever you get podcasts or YouTube. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that subscription bell to give you notifications, the notification bell. We're going through, it's going to be a whole new year, another year of the Srimad Bhagavatam. How beautiful is this? How fortunate are we? Thank you, everybody, for sharing your vulnerability, your honesty. I'm honored to be part of it. And everyone who's staying for the after party, we'll see you soon.
No, stay.
No, stay. Yeah, just stay.
Yeah, don't even go anywhere. There is no break. You just sit down there. If you need to get up and stretch your legs, you can do that. We'll allow that. But thanks for everybody else.